What's up, guys? So we've definitely come a long ways with this Q50 over the last couple of years. A lot of changes have been made, as you likely saw in a recent video, building my Q50 in 5 minutes, or the complete mod list update video. If you would have been subscribed, you would have seen that video as it was posted, but I digress. Anyway, at the car meet in Atlanta recently, I was asked a couple of different questions by a couple of different people. One of those was, if you were to start over, would you have purchased the VR30? Would you have purchased the 3.0T Q50? The other question was sort of similar, but it was, if you had to do it all over again, what would you do differently in terms of modifying this Q50? So I figured I'd just combine both of those questions today and answer them right now in this video. Well, you know what, guys? There actually are quite a few things that I think I would do a little bit differently in modifying the car. But let's answer that first question first. If I went back in time to about 2.5 years ago when I purchased this vehicle, knowing what I know now, would I buy the VR30? Would I have purchased a 2016 or 2017 Infiniti Q50? Actually, let's just think about this for a second, right? At that time, it was the 2018 that was brand new. All we really had to go on was how the 2016s and 2017s had been functioning. I wasn't going to purchase a brand new vehicle. If you've been following along, you'll know that I was keeping myself in a budget of $25,000 or less. I really wanted reliability. The car, the intention, like always, was to keep the car completely stock. I was going to use it for work. So it wasn't really a car that I was looking to modify, make huge power out of, make nasty loud or anything like that. So, you know, all of those things combined together, it steered me toward this VQ37. And looking back again, if I were to know then what I know now about this platform and these different cars and looking back on things, no, I don't think I would have made a different decision, to be quite honest. Again, just based on the details that I was looking at the time. The VR30 was only a couple of years old. The most newest version, the 2018 at the time, was new and too expensive. I wasn't going to spend $30,000 or $35,000. I don't even know what they were going for at the time. I wasn't going to spend that much money. And what we had seen from the VRs was that there were belt issues, reliability problems, oil or coolant consumption problems, engines being replaced, turbos blowing within a couple of 1,000 miles in some cases. So, and also price too, right? Even 2016s and 17s at that time were going for well over $25,000. So they were up and out of sort of that budget range. And again, I wasn't expecting to make huge amounts of power because this was going to be a car that was left stock. We know how things change. And I should have known that about myself because I can't ever leave well enough alone. But again, I think my decision would have remained the same. Now, I mean, don't get me wrong, would I love to make 450 horsepower to the wheels, almost 500 horsepower to the wheels, and 400 plus foot-pounds of torque? Yeah, of course I would. Of course I would. That would make modifying the car and really driving the car a lot more fun in a lot of different scenarios. So, there's that. But again, I don't see myself switching my decision, going back in time. Somebody else also asked, would you consider, trading this car and moving up to a VR30? I love the looks of the Q60, and the new 400Z is looking really intriguing, considering that platform in a much lighter weight car with a 6-speed. If they put an LSD in the car, it's going to be very hard to not consider that. But I don't think I would purchase another Q50. I mean, I've already had a car that looks like this. Interior is not all that different. Of course, the exterior styling is, most people couldn't tell them apart, to be quite honest. I do love the Q60, the look of the Q60, but no, I don't. If it's not the 400, I don't think I would go for a VR30. There's just too many things that are missing. If it's an automatic, there's no dual clutch. If there is a 6-speed manual, we can't guarantee that it's got an LSD. I mean, the open diff on a performance track-inspired car is just nonsense. So there's some things up in the air about that 400. But other than that, I probably would look outside the platform, to be quite honest. Have no fear. Have no fear. We're holding on to this Q50 for a while. There's still some more things to be done and some more fun times to get out of it. So have no fear. That's the reason we're looking for another channel car. We can, you know, just don't worry. Now the more important question of the two. Considering that my decision would have remained the same to buy the VQ37 2015 Infiniti Q50, would I have done things differently if I had to start over? If I had to start from scratch with this particular platform, would I do things differently in terms of modifications? Actually, yes. I think there's quite a few things that I would do a little bit differently. Pretty much the first thing that I do with every vehicle that I purchase, the first thing I always do is the exhaust. I always change up the exhaust system because how the car sounds is of the utmost importance, of course. So I don't think I would change that, because thinking back, the first thing really that I did was start messing with the exhaust system, and then we got the car tuned. So I think that is where the difference would come in. I don't think I would do test pipes and tune the car. I think I would just go maybe catback system, get it sounding right, and then I think I would jump right into wheels and tires. Wheels and tires is a thing that I waited for probably a year of ownership with the car. I think I would do that right away because those run flat tires are just garbage. And the wheels are whatever. I hated them then. I don't, looking back, those 17s, the silver 17s, I really don't mind them right now, actually. But I would change those out, and then I would go right into suspension components, either springs or coilovers. One of those situations, knowing now how hard we have pushed this car, and after kind of evolving my thought process on what we should do with this car, going from purchasing the vehicle not wanting to modify it at all to the plan being creating an autocross car, I think it would go right for coilovers, and probably upgrade the brakes. Maybe not necessarily big brakes at that time right away, but I think we would definitely do different rotors like we have now and stainless steel lines. It makes a major difference. And sway bars. So suspension, sway bars, then some of those first stage brake upgrades, in addition to wheels and tires. Then we would move into tuning and that sort of thing. So I think almost flipping it, kind of in reverse order, is what I would do. And then maybe some of the more aesthetic components, which is what we've done. We've just started to sort of get into some of those aesthetic things with, the duckbill spoiler and the front splitter and the LED emblem and the mirrors. And those are things probably I wouldn't generally do. But Jalisco's Carbon Fiber has been an excellent partner, sells really solid quality stuff. So I enjoy supporting guys that are trying to grow a business and make a name for themselves in the industry and in this platform. So I like purchasing those things, doing installation videos. It's great for content creation. It's great for helping fellow enthusiasts out that are pursuing similar changes and upgrades to their vehicle. So just to sort of summarize my thinking on some of the things that I would do, knowing then what I know now, what I would do first. So first, of course, catback exhaust. We got to get the thing sounding right. Then I would go into wheels and tires. Then I would go into upgrading the suspension stuff. Considering that I wanted to make this car an autocross car, I'd probably go right to coilovers, but I still recommend the Tane S-Tech lowering springs. Really good quality spring. Really improves the handling of the vehicle and how it looks overall. Then I would go Hotchkiss sway bars. That'd probably be my first grouping of major modifications or major upgrades. Then I would go test pipes and tune, as well as drop-in filters or air induction stuff, but I'd still recommend the drop-in filters, because the tune on this platform, even with full bolt-ons, you're only going to be making 330, 340 horsepower, and it's a pretty good increase over what this thing can do stock. But I say the most major change that you'll feel is in that suspension, in that sway bar, those handling, road hugging capabilities that you can get out of those few modifications in combination with a good set of tires, obviously. That is what you'll feel even more so than the power gains. It's just been my experience. And similarly to what we have done now, I would save some of the aesthetic things until later. I love the duckbill spoiler, so I might get that a little quicker than I did prior. I got sort of an OEM style pre-painted spoiler, which I liked, but it wasn't quite as aggressive as I would have liked to have. So I would have skipped purchasing that altogether and just gone right for this duckbill. Then going into the M-style mirrors and the sequential lights and stuff like that. Those are pretty cool. The LED emblem is a cool little touch and something that makes your vehicle stand out. So just like always, I tend to save some of the aesthetic things toward the end, or once I got the car feeling and running how I want it to run, because performance generally is more important to me than how the car looks. But that's where I stand now. I'll leave some links in the description to some of my favorite components, as I always do. I think the Tane S-Tech lowering springs are out of stock. I guess they've become pretty popular. But yeah, I'll try to link a bunch of the things down below if you guys are curious and following along. And be sure to check out those other videos that I mentioned at the beginning, which are the building this car in under 5 minutes video, and also my current up-to-date modification list video. It might be helpful if you guys are just jumping into this platform and want to get some ideas on what you can do to improve the look of the vehicle, improve the handling, improve the performance. Everything is included in those videos, plus the 150 plus videos that I have posted over the last couple of years. I'm sure you can find what you're looking for. But other than that, I really appreciate you guys following along. I really appreciate the continued support, and I look forward to jumping into 2021. It's going to be a good year. I can feel it. So thanks for following along. We'll see you in the next one.